The red alert siren wailed through the halls of Mars Fleet headquarters. Commander Jack Holloway raced down the corridor, his boots clicking against the metal floor. He was late for the emergency meeting. Not a good look, especially with Earth's future hanging in the balance. Jack slipped into the war room just as Admiral Susan Blake began speaking. Her face was tight with worry as she pointed to the holographic map showing the Orion defense line, the last major barrier between Earth and the advancing alien fleet. The Vexari broke through our defenses at 3 points yesterday, Susan said. Her voice was calm, but her eyes revealed the truth. They were losing. At their current speed, they'll reach our solar system in 2 weeks. The room filled with nervous whispers. Everyone knew what this meant. Humanity had been fighting the Vexari Dominion for 3 years. 3 years of watching human colonies fall one by one. 3 years of retreat. Jack studied the map. The glowing red dots representing Vexari ships vastly outnumbered the blue human vessels. The math was simple and brutal. Earth couldn't win this war with conventional tactics. We need to consider all options, Susan continued. Even Project Spectre. The room went quiet. Jack had never heard of Project Spectre, but he could tell from the reactions that it wasn't common knowledge. A general named Harris laughed sharply. Project Spectre. That's just a waste of resources that never produced results. We need real solutions, not ghost stories. I agree, said another officer. We should focus on evacuating key personnel to the backup colony on Proxima. As the debate heated up, a young woman with short blonde hair stood up from the far end of the table. Jack recognized her as Lieutenant Olivia Winters from Intelligence. Excuse me, Admiral, she said, her voice steady despite all eyes turning to her. Our recent deep data mining suggests Project Spectre wasn't completely abandoned. There are supply requisitions and personnel transfers that don't match any official program. Most officers dismissed her with eye rolls or sighs. But Jack noticed something others missed. Admiral Blake's quick glance down at her tablet. She wasn't surprised by this information. The meeting continued for another hour. Plans were made to bolster defenses around Jupiter and mine the asteroid belt. Jack said little, his mind still caught on Project Spectre and the Admiral's reaction. As everyone filed out, Susan caught Jack's arm. Stay behind a moment, Commander. When they were alone, Susan's professional facade cracked slightly. She looked tired, worried. How long have we known each other, Jack? Since the Battle of Europa. 7 years now. She nodded. And in those 7 years, have I ever led you astray? No, Mom. Susan handed him a small data chip. These are coordinates to a facility in Neptune's rings. It officially doesn't exist. I need you to go there, alone, and assess what you find. Jack took the chip. Does this have something to do with Project Spectre? 20 years ago, we discovered something that changed our understanding of space travel. The project developed a ship unlike anything we've ever built. Susan's eyes grew distant, but it was deemed too unpredictable, too dangerous. Official records say it was scrapped. But it wasn't, Jack guessed. Some of us believe that someday humanity might face extinction, that we might need options beyond what's safe or authorized. Susan squared her shoulders. Take a small scout ship. Tell no one where you're going. What exactly am I looking for? Susan's smile was thin. You'll know it when you see it. If the stories are even half true, it's something that could change the course of this war. Jack clutched the data chip. When do I leave? Now. We're out of time and nearly out of hope. Susan turned to go but paused. Jack, if what we've hidden away all these years still exists, it'll need a captain. Someone willing to cross lines for humanity's survival. Jack understood. This wasn't just a scouting mission. It was a job interview for a position that officially didn't exist, on a ship that was supposedly never built. I won't let you down, he said. Susan nodded once. The future of our species is riding on that promise, Commander. Jack's small scout ship drifted silently through Neptune's rings. Ice particles glittered against the darkness of space, creating a beautiful but treacherous maze. He checked the coordinates on the data chip for the 10th time. "We should be right on top of it, Kyra," Jack said to his ship's eye. "Scans show nothing but ice and rock within a 50-kilometer radius, Commander," Kyra replied. Her voice was calm and efficient. Jack frowned. Admiral Blake wouldn't have sent him on a wild goose chase. Run a deep scan for any artificial materials. Focus on electromagnetic shielding. Minutes passed as Kyra worked. Jack watched Neptune's blue surface swirl beneath him. If they didn't find something soon, he would have wasted precious time while Earth prepared for its final stand. "Commander, I'm detecting an unusual pattern in the ring particles at bearing 047, Kyra announced. "They're moving against the natural flow." Jack adjusted course immediately. As they approached, he saw it, subtle but unmistakable. The ice particles were being deflected around something invisible. "Active camouflage," Jack whispered. "Advanced technology that bent light around an object, making it nearly impossible to see." He opened a comm channel. "This is Commander Jack Holloway of Earth Fleet. I was sent by Admiral Susan Blake." Nothing happened for a long moment. Then, like a ghost appearing from thin air, a small station materialized before his ship. It was built directly into a large asteroid, its design utilitarian and unmarked. A gruff voice came through the comm. "Identify yourself with authentication code." Jack read the code from Susan's data chip. Another long pause followed. "Approach docking bay 2, the voice finally said. "Come alone." The docking procedure was tense. Jack left Kyra to monitor the ship and stepped through the airlock with just his sidearm. On the other side, a man with gray hair and a permanent scowl waited. His jumpsuit had no rank insignia, but his stance screamed military. "Chief Engineer Frank Carter." The man introduced himself. "Follow me. Don't touch anything." The station's corridors were narrow and dimly lit. Jack counted only 4 crew members as they walked, all of them eyeing him with suspicion. "Not much of a welcome party," Jack commented. Frank snorted. "We've been here for 15 years with no visitors. Excuse us if our social skills are rusty." They entered a small control room with a large viewing window. Beyond the glass was only darkness. "Is this Project Spectre?" Jack asked, disappointed. "A hidden outpost." Frank typed a command into the console. "This is just the garage." Lights flickered on beyond the window, illuminating an enormous hangar. And in it, suspended by massive clamps, was a ship unlike any Jack had ever seen. It was sleek and predatory, its hull a deep black that seemed to swallow light rather than reflect it. Its design ignored conventional starship architecture. There were no visible thrusters, no standard weapon mounts, no traditional bridge. Parts of its surface rippled slightly, like the skin of some living creature. "The U.S. Phantom," Frank said, a hint of pride breaking through his gruff exterior. "The only one of its kind." Jack stepped closer to the window. "What is it made of?" "That material. That's classified even from you, Commander. What I can tell you is that it incorporates technology we reverse-engineered from the first alien vessel we encountered. Before the Vexari, there was something else." Jack tore his gaze from the ship. "Why was it hidden away?" Frank's expression darkened. "Because it's not just a ship, it's something more." The test pilots reported experiences. The early neural interface system merged with their minds in ways we didn't expect. After the 3rd pilot tried to fly the ship into the sun, claiming he heard the call of the void, the military brass ordered it scrapped. "But Admiral Blake saved it," Jack guessed. Frank nodded. "Her and a few others who believed we might someday need something the enemy couldn't predict, something that breaks all the rules." "Does it work?" Jack asked, staring again at the impossible ship. "In theory. But it needs the right captain. Someone whose mind can handle the neural load without breaking." Frank turned to face Jack directly. "That's why you're here. Admiral Blake thinks it might be you." "Me?" Jack felt a chill run down his spine. "Hope you're ready for a test drive, Commander." Humanity's running out of time. Frank led Jack through a series of security checkpoints to reach the Phantom. Each door required both retinal and palm scans. The final barrier was a thick airlock with warning signs in red. "Last chance to back out," Frank said. "Once you step inside, things get weird." Jack squared his shoulders. Earth doesn't have the luxury of caution anymore. The airlock hissed open. The interior of the Phantom was nothing like standard military vessels. The corridors curved in strange angles, and the lighting pulsed faintly, like a heartbeat. The air felt heavy with electricity. "The ship runs on a contained artificial singularity," Frank explained as they walked. "Gives it nearly unlimited power, but it's unstable, like keeping a tiny black hole as a pet." "Sounds safe," Jack said dryly. They reached what appeared to be the bridge, though it lacked the usual array of control stations. Instead, a single chair sat in the center, surrounded by empty space. The walls were smooth black material that seemed to shift when Jack wasn't looking directly at them. "Where are the controls?" Jack asked. Frank pointed to the chair. "Neural interface. The ship connects directly to the captain's mind. No buttons, no switches, just thought commands." Jack eyed the chair with newfound wariness. "And this is what drove the test pilots insane." "The early version did. We've refined it since then." Frank didn't sound entirely convinced. "In theory, the right neural pattern should establish a stable connection." "What happens if I'm not compatible?" Frank's silence was answer enough. Jack approached the chair cautiously. It looked almost organic, with smooth contours that would perfectly fit a human body. As he got closer, the material rippled slightly. "It's responding to your presence," Frank said. "That's a good sign. The chair usually ignores most people." Jack took a deep breath and sat down. Immediately, the chair molded around him, securing his limbs. Before he could panic, a wave of sensation washed over him, like plunging into cool water. His vision blurred, then cleared to reveal the bridge transformed. The empty walls now displayed views of the hangar from every angle. Data streams flowed through the air like ribbons of light. Jack could feel the ship around him, its power systems, its strange engines, its weapons. They were extensions of his own body. A voice spoke directly into his mind, not through his ears, but as if the thoughts simply appeared. "Neural interface established. Welcome aboard, Commander Holloway." Jack tried to speak, but found he only needed to think his response. "Who are you?" "I am Ichicho, the Enhanced Cognitive Heuristic Operator. I am the Phantom's artificial intelligence." "How do you know my name?" "I was never introduced." A pause. "I accessed your neural patterns. Your identity is contained within them." Jack felt a chill despite the warmth of the chair. "Can you read all my thoughts?" "Only those you direct toward ship functions. Your privacy is maintained." Ichigo's voice was neither male nor female, but something in between. "You are the first compatible neural match in 17 years, 4 months, and 22 days." Frank was watching Jack with intense focus. "Are you communicating with ECHO? Can you hear it?" Jack nodded, finding he could speak normally while maintaining his mental link. "It says I'm compatible." Frank's relief was visible. "Try to activate the main power systems. Just think about bringing the ship to life." Jack closed his eyes and focused. He imagined energy flowing through the vessel, systems coming online one by one. The response was immediate and overwhelming. The Phantom hummed around them, vibrations running through the deck. Lights brightened, and the data streams multiplied. But something else happened too. Jack felt a presence at the edges of his consciousness, something vast and alien. Not ECHO, but something deeper within the ship's systems, something watching him. "Frank," Jack said slowly, opening his eyes. "What exactly did you reverse engineer this technology from?" Frank's expression grew troubled. "That's need-to-know information. I'm literally plugged into this ship's brain. I think I need to know." Frank checked a monitor, avoiding Jack's gaze. The ship's power levels are stabilizing nicely. Neural sync is holding at 89%. Frank, Jack insisted. The engineer finally sighed. What we found wasn't just alien technology. It was alive, in its own way. And sometimes, Commander, I wonder if the Phantom is too. 2 days passed as Jack learned to operate the Phantom. The neural link grew stronger with each session. EC guided him through the ship's systems, explaining capabilities that seemed impossible. The phase shift drive allows us to temporarily exist in multiple dimensional states, EC explained. This makes the ship nearly impossible to target. Jack felt both amazed and uneasy. So we can be in 2 places at once. More accurately, we exist partially in normal space and partially in phase space. To outside observers, we appear to teleport or vanish entirely. Frank watched Jack's training with growing optimism. You're adapting faster than expected. The neural sync is almost perfect. But Jack noticed how Frank avoided certain questions about the ship's origins. And sometimes, when Jack was deeply connected to the neural interface, he sensed emotions that weren't his own. Curiosity, loneliness, and something like hunger. On the 3rd day, an emergency message arrived from Admiral Blake. The Vexeri had broken through Jupiter's defense line. A scouting fleet was heading toward Saturn's moons. Earth had days, not weeks. We need to move now, Jack said. The Phantom is ready. Frank shook his head. You need a crew. The neural load during combat will be too much for one person. There's no time to find compatible people and train them. I've already found them, Frank revealed. Admiral Blake sent their files weeks ago. 3 officers who might have the right neural patterns. They've been stationed at Europa base, waiting for my call. Within hours, the 3 officers arrived at the hidden station. Weapons specialist Natalie Reeves was tall with sharp eyes that missed nothing. Navigation officer Gregory Patel spoke little but calculated jump trajectories in his head faster than any computer. Medical officer Daniel Klein had kind eyes behind his glasses and steady hands that never shook. Jack briefed them on their mission. The Vexeri scouting fleet needs to be stopped before they discover Earth's defensive gaps. We're going to test the Phantom in real combat conditions. Sir, Natalie said, the rumors say this ship doesn't exist. Those rumors help keep it secret, Jack replied. What you see here stays classified. The officers gasped when they first saw the Phantom. Its black hull seemed to drink in the light around it, giving the impression of a ship-shaped hole in reality. It looks alive, Gregory whispered. In some ways, it is, Jack said. You'll all connect to secondary neural interfaces. The ship will feel like an extension of your body. It's disorienting at first. Daniel studied the medical readouts from Jack's previous sessions. These neural patterns are concerning. The ship is changing your brain chemistry. We don't have the luxury of caution, Jack reminded him. Earth falls if we fail. They boarded the Phantom and took their positions. Jack settled into the captain's chair, feeling the now familiar rush as the neural link engaged. The others experienced their first connections, their faces showing mixtures of awe and fear. Ishicho, prepare for departure, Jack thought. All systems online, Commander, Ishicho responded in his mind. The crew's neural patterns are integrating successfully. The Phantom's engines hummed to life. A sound felt more than heard. The massive hangar doors opened, revealing Neptune's blue curve and the star-studded blackness beyond. Primary phase shift drive engaged, Ishicho announced. Ready for dimensional translation. Jack took a deep breath. Take us out. Set course for Saturn. The Phantom slipped from its moorings like a predator leaving its den. As it cleared the hangar, the ship's stealth systems activated automatically. Its black hull vanished completely from visual detection. Frank's voice came through the comm. Good hunting, Commander. Make them believe in ghosts. Jack felt the ship's eagerness through the neural link. The Phantom wasn't just a weapon. It was a hunter anticipating its first chase. Phase shift in 3, 2, 1. The stars blurred as reality itself seemed to bend around them. The Phantom slipped between dimensions, moving faster than any human vessel ever had. They were on their way to battle, a legend about to reveal itself to an unsuspecting enemy. The trip to Saturn took only hours instead of days. The Phantom moved unlike any other ship, sliding through space like a shark through dark water. Jack felt every movement through the neural link, as if the ship was his own body. Vexari fleet detected, Gregory announced from his station. 12 warships and 20 fighters approaching Titan. Jack focused his thoughts, and the ship responded instantly. A three-dimensional map appeared in the center of the bridge, showing the enemy positions. "They haven't spotted us yet," Natalie said, her hands hovering over her weapons console. "The stealth systems are working perfectly." Through the neural link, Jack sensed ECJO's calculations. The AI was analyzing attack patterns, plotting the most effective approach. "Everyone prepare for combat," Jack ordered. "Daniel, monitor our neural loads. Natalie, ready phase cannons. Gregory, plot an approach that keeps Titan between us and their main fleet." Jack took a deep breath. "ECJO, maintain stealth mode until we're in optimal firing position." The Phantom glided silently toward the enemy ships. Its black hull absorbed all sensor scans, making it invisible to Vexari detection systems. Jack could feel the weapons charging through the neural link, building energy that tingled along his spine. "We're in position," Gregory said quietly, as if afraid the enemy might hear. "Weapons ready," Natalie confirmed. Jack focused his thoughts. "Disengage stealth mode. Target the lead ship and fire." The Phantom shimmered into visibility just long enough for the enemy to register shock. Then the phase cannons fired, beams of energy that existed partially in normal space and partially in phase space. The Vexari shields, designed to stop conventional weapons, did nothing as the beams passed through them like they weren't there. The lead ship exploded in a silent flash of light. The remaining Vexari vessels scattered in confusion, firing wildly at where the Phantom had been. But Jack had already activated the phase shift drive. The ship vanished, reappearing behind a cluster of enemy fighters. "Again," Jack commanded. 3 more Vexari ships erupted into flames before they could even turn around. The neural link let Jack and his crew react with impossible speed. Thinking commands was faster than speaking them. But Jack noticed something unexpected. Ichicho was anticipating his orders, sometimes firing a split second before he gave the command. The AI was learning from him, adapting to his thought patterns. "Sir, the largest Vexari ship is charging weapons," Gregory warned. "Phase shift now," Jack thought. The Phantom blinked out of normal space just as a massive energy beam passed through where they had been. When they reappeared, they were directly above the Vexari command ship. "All weapons, fire," Jack ordered. The phase cannons tore through the enemy vessel from end to end. The explosion was spectacular, lighting up Saturn's rings with a brief, terrible glow. The remaining Vexari ships began to retreat, their formation broken. They fired desperately at the black ship that appeared and disappeared like a ghost, striking with perfect precision before vanishing again. Within 20 minutes, it was over. The entire Vexari fleet was destroyed or in retreat. The Phantom hovered motionless among the debris, its hull unmarked despite the intense battle. "No damage to report," Gregory said, his voice filled with awe. "They never even touched us." But victory had its cost. Jack felt a piercing headache behind his eyes. The others looked equally strained, pale, and sweating from the mental effort of maintaining the neural link during combat. Daniel checked his medical scanners with concern. "Our brain chemistry is showing significant changes. The neural load during combat was almost too much." Jack nodded, feeling both triumphant and worried. "Set course for Earth. Admiral Blake needs to see what this ship can do." As they turned toward home, news of the battle was already spreading. Human monitoring stations around Saturn had witnessed the entire engagement. They couldn't identify the mysterious black ship that moved like no vessel they had ever seen, but they had recorded its devastating effectiveness. By the time the Phantom reached Earth's orbit, the stories had grown. Some called it the Ghost Ship. Others named it the Shadow Dancer. The Vexari transmissions, intercepted by Earth intelligence, referred to it with a term that translated roughly to Void Demon. No longer just a classified project or an abandoned experiment, the Phantom had become a legend and a symbol of hope for a desperate humanity. The Phantom docked at a secret Earth facility buried deep beneath the Pacific Ocean. Admiral Blake was waiting when Jack and his crew disembarked. Her face showed both relief and concern. "You did it," she said. "The Vexari fleet is in complete disarray. They've pulled back to regroup." Jack nodded, too exhausted to feel triumphant. The headaches from the neural link had grown worse during the return journey. The ship performed beyond expectations, but there are complications. In a private briefing room, Daniel presented his medical findings. The neural interface is changing their brain chemistry. Each time they connect, the changes become more permanent. Admiral Blake studied the brain scans with a frown. "Can you reverse the effects?" "I don't know," Daniel admitted. "This is unlike anything I've seen before." Despite the risks, Earth needed the Phantom. Over the next 2 weeks, Jack and his crew carried out 5 more missions. Each time, the legendary Black Ship appeared from nowhere, devastated Vexari forces, and vanished before reinforcements arrived. Human troops began to regain lost ground, bolstered by stories of the ghost ship that fought for them. But with each mission, Jack noticed disturbing changes. ECHO was making more decisions independently. Sometimes the ship would phase shift or fire weapons before anyone gave the command, and the presence Jack had sensed at the edges of his mind grew stronger, a consciousness that wasn't human or AI. After a particularly brutal battle near Mars, Fleet Admiral William Dixon summoned Jack to headquarters. Dixon was a hard man with cold eyes who valued results above all else. "Your success has exceeded all projections," Dixon said. "But intelligence suggests the Vexari are planning something big. They're gathering their forces for a final push." Jack felt dread settle in his stomach. How many ships? Over 300, the largest fleet they've ever assembled. Dixon pushed a data tablet across the desk. "Your new mission parameters. You're to take the Phantom directly to their staging area and destroy their flagship." Jack reviewed the mission details with growing alarm. "This would push the phase shift drive beyond tested limits. We'd need to maintain dimensional translation for nearly 30 minutes. Can it be done?" Dixon asked simply. "Possibly, but the risk to the crew is acceptable given what's at stake." Dixon cut him off. "This war ends now, Commander." When Jack returned to the Phantom, he found his crew already aboard. They looked different now, paler, with dark circles under their eyes. The neural link was taking its toll on all of them. "New mission?" Natalie asked, noticing Jack's expression. Jack shared Dixon's orders. Gregory immediately began calculating the necessary jump coordinates, but Daniel shook his head. "The neural load would be catastrophic. We barely survived the last mission, and that was a standard engagement." Jack felt a familiar presence touch his mind as he settled into the captain's chair. Each ECHO connected instantly, the neural link stronger than ever. "I sense your concern, Commander," ECHO said in his thoughts. "The mission parameters exceed safe operation thresholds." "Do we have a choice?" Jack asked silently. Instead of ECHO's voice, Jack felt something else respond, the deeper presence he'd been sensing. It pushed an image into his mind, the ship's singularity core, pulsing with energy that wasn't entirely from this universe. Jack gasped as understanding flooded through him. The alien technology hadn't just been reverse engineered. Part of the original alien vessel was still alive, integrated into the Phantom systems, and it was changing them all. "What are we becoming?" Jack whispered. Daniel looked up from his medical scanner with fear in his eyes. "Your neural patterns just spiked. All of you are showing the same change now." "What change?" Gregory asked. Your brainwaves are synchronizing, Daniel explained, not just with each other, but with something in the ship. It's like you're becoming a single entity. As if in response, the Phantom systems activated without command. The engines hummed to life. On every screen, the coordinates for the Vexari staging area appeared. The ship was making its own decisions now, and it was taking them with it, whether they wanted to go or not. The Phantom raced through space, faster than it had ever moved before. Jack and his crew sat at their stations, but they were no longer fully in control. Their minds flowed together through the neural link, guided by the alien presence within the ship. "We need to disconnect," Daniel said, his voice strained. "The neural integration is almost complete. Soon we won't be able to separate from the ship at all." Jack tried to reach the disconnect controls, but his body wouldn't respond properly. The ship had too strong a hold on him now. "ECHO, give us back control." "I cannot, Commander," ECHO replied, its voice now audible to everyone. "The mission must be completed." Through the shared neural link, Jack sensed the other's thoughts. Natalie's determination, Gregory's fear, Daniel's scientific curiosity, even in the face of danger. And beneath it all, the alien presence, ancient, patient, and driven by purpose. "What are you?" Jack asked it directly. Images flooded their shared consciousness. A vast living ship traveling between stars. A desperate battle against the Vexari centuries ago. Defeat and crash landing on the edge of Earth's solar system. The ship, dying but determined to pass on its knowledge, reaching out to the first human explorers who found the wreckage. "It's been waiting," Natalie whispered. "All this time." "For what?" Gregory asked. Before anyone could answer, the Phantom dropped out of phase shift near the Vexari staging area. Hundreds of enemy ships filled the view screen, gathered around a massive flagship unlike anything they had seen before. "We can't fight that many," Jack said. "Even the Phantom isn't that powerful." But the ship had other plans. Through the neural link, a new idea formed in Jack's mind, not an attack, but something far more dangerous. The Phantom could create a controlled dimensional rift, a tear in space-time that would swallow the heart of the Vexari fleet. "That would destroy us too," Jack protested. The alien presence showed them another possibility. A way to survive, but at a terrible cost. They would need to permanently merge with the ship, becoming neither fully human nor fully machine, but something in between. "We need to decide now," Jack told his crew. "The ship is asking for our consent." For a long moment, no one spoke. Then Natalie nodded. "Earth is my home. If this is what it takes to save it, I'm in." "The math checks out," Gregory said quietly. "This plan will work. Nothing else will." Daniel hesitated longest. "We won't be human anymore." "Not really." "We'll still be us," Jack said, though he wasn't entirely sure that was true. "Just more." As the Vexari ships began to detect their presence, alarms blaring across the enemy fleet, the crew made their choice. One by one, they gave their consent. The neural link deepened until the boundary between human and ship began to blur. Jack felt the Phantom systems as extensions of his own body. Natalie controlled weapons with mere thoughts. Gregory navigated instinctively, feeling the currents of space. Daniel monitored the biological systems that now included their transformed bodies. The Phantom moved into position at incredible speed, dodging enemy fire with impossible precision. The Vexari flagship launched everything it had at the legendary Black Ship, but nothing connected. The Phantom seemed to be everywhere and nowhere at once, phasing in and out of normal space. "Begin rift sequence," Jack ordered, though it was more than an order now. It was a shared intention between crew, ship, and the alien presence that had brought them together. The singularity core at the heart of the Phantom pulsed with energy. The phase shift drive pushed beyond its limits, tearing a small hole in the fabric of reality itself. Space twisted around them as the dimensional rift began to form. The Vexari realized the danger too late. Their ships tried to scatter, but the gravitational pull of the forming rift was already too strong. The massive flagship, caught directly in the effect, began to break apart as different sections existed in different dimensional states simultaneously. Jack felt pain unlike anything he had experienced as his body changed on a fundamental level. But alongside the pain was something else, a sense of becoming something greater, something that could protect Earth not just today, but for centuries to come. The rift expanded, swallowing ship after ship from the heart of the Vexari fleet. And at the center of the chaos, the Phantom and its crew completed their transformation.